speaking of like really just starting to get under their feet, we really need to discuss Yoan Moncada in this series because Yoan has been absolutely dynamite. As I've said in previous podcasts, I believe he's somebody who has benefited from the World Baseball Classic probably more than anybody who has played in it, just based on his performance, his level of hustle. Like watching him hit a double today was just incredible. Watching him just round the bases, not even thinking twice about getting to second base, and that's the type of hustle you want to see out of a guy like Yoan Moncada. Jordan, I'll let you take this one because you are a huge Yoan guy. What are your thoughts on Yoan Moncada? Do you think this is something that could be sustainable? Do you think that maybe just confidence has something to do with it? What are your thoughts on how Yoan Moncada is playing right now?
I'm actually going to let Nick take his victory lap on this one because I know he's been as big as a Moncada fan as I am. I'm going to let him take his victory lap first.
Well, thank you. I think because last week on the podcast I said for the segment who you hire on, I picked Moncada, but honestly, as much as I'm a huge fan of his and I've never really wavered on that, I still didn't expect him to be hitting for power like this. Granted, a couple of his, I think he has 3 doubles so far, and 2 of them were kind of like ground balls that happened to get through that weren't particularly hard hit. But at the same time, that's power, and you can't deny the 2 home runs. So that's just really encouraging to me. It's just that he's playing a lot looser. You can tell he's having fun. He's smiling, and even though he was thrown out trying to stretch that Abreu error into 3 bases on opening night, I still kind of like that he's playing with the edge to go for it on a night when the White Sox were really struggling to even get guys to advance a single base. He knew how important that extra base was. And you can just tell that the whole team really, from a body language standpoint, from a pure vibe standpoint, like everything is just different. I think that's so key for Moncada because it's not like he's doing anything like that he's never done before. Like we've seen him hit for power before, we've seen him hit doubles before, but just doing it consistently will be the key. So it's a really, really encouraging start, and I think that as long as he continues to just take these at bats the way he has, like even his foul balls have been impressive. Like on opening night, he barely missed a home run, and then on Saturday he barely missed what would have been a game tying double in the 9th inning just by a few feet. Like he just seems locked in. He's not taking any plate appearances off, and that's going to be the key going forward.
And I think to that point, seeing him hit 2 homers to left field is incredibly encouraging as well. Going the opposite way, taking what's given to him, not trying to do too much. It kind of leans into more of the, everyone's going to refer to 2019, and I don't want to do that, but it leans into the approach he kind of had in that season. It's taking what's given to you and going along with it. That's what leads to better at-bats instead of just looking for one specific pitch so much that you end up missing other good pitchers or hitters' pitches, like fastball on the outer part of the plate. Good thing to go to the opposite field with. Maybe in past seasons he might not do that as much, looking maybe middle in, for example. And I think when you early on in the season homer twice to the opposite field, it says a lot about your willingness to take what a pitcher's giving you and maybe zone up versus just a specific pitch in a specific spot. And I don't think it's any coincidence that both of those homers were on fastballs as well. I know that's been a huge concern for fans as well on Moncada, is his ability to hit fastballs. It looks like an approach where a guy is taking what is given to him more than he's trying to find the perfect pitch for every situation. And that's what's most important to me so far. And that's what makes me think, it's not just some sort of an aberration. No, he's not going to hit 400 all season, but he's going to look good in his at-bats if he continues this sort of plate approach.
So I really like that. I really like that because I think there's a lot that goes into that. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I do feel like it's important to bring up that this is probably the first season since 2019 where Yoan hasn't dealt with some sort of injury heading into the season. If you really think about it, 2020 it was COVID, 2021, I believe he was having leg issues in 2022. Obviously, the first 2 months of the season were just so on and off with him being on and off the IL. I really think that plays a lot into it. Plus, he has a lot of baseball under his belt already before a game that mattered, was played. Playing in the WBC, Nick, I thought you brought up a great point. It seems like he's just having fun out there. And, when you're a young guy like Yoan Moncada was when he got his contract, and you're kind of looked at from being like, oh, you just had this great year. Now carry our offense in a sense. You know what I mean? Baseball could turn into a job really quickly. I think people kind of get lost in the idea that once people get paid that they should just continue to play the way they always are. But, expectations are sky high, at that point. But I do also think there is something to do with his patience at the plate. I think that's something that people have talked about over the last few years. Sometimes he can be a little too patient. He can sit on pitches that are just pitches that most people would eat up. You know what I mean? Like in an inside fastball, that's something that he can still get around to and get a good piece of. And we've seen him just watch too many good pitches go through for strikeouts. And I understand he wants to play the the role of getting walks, being able to get on base, being able to help the team in that way. But watching him aggressive at the plate right now is just really great to see, because I think if you're a pitcher, you go into this season with a scouting report on Yoan Moncada, it's this guy's going to take a lot of good pitches, so we're just going to attack the zone on him and maybe toss one at the bottom to get him, once he falls behind, because Yoan usually swings at an 0-2 or 1-2 count. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I think approach is really a big part of it. I think health is a big part of it. I think just him enjoying baseball again is a big part of it. And I think the WBC played a big role in that.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite things from the 2019 season, when he was just destroying the league, was, at least before he got injured in September, checking fan graphs every day to see where he was on the WAR rankings. Because he was always top 30, but there were times when he was like top 10. And I mean, stats don't matter right now. Obviously, they've played literally 4 games, but it is nice to look at fan graphs and go to the updated chart and see Yoan Moncada, number 3 in baseball with 0.5 wins above replacement. Again, very early, doesn't matter, but it's still cool to see his name back up there again. Also, Grandal is in the top 15 as well, which is nice to see, because those two kind of at times carried the offense in 2021 just in terms of getting on base. And if that can happen again, that'll be huge.
And that is what's called creating an agenda. Good job, Nik Gaur. Very nice job. I've done that with Dylan Cease in, 2021, when I'm like, well, he's up there in WAR and stuff like that. It's called creating an agenda. Beautiful job.
Thank you.